in Canada, in US, in Australia, in Middle East, everywhere you talk about, there's a value of HANA.
Hmm. So in Australia also I have uh, folks working in Melbourne and all.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people from India because these Aussie people, they can't afford to have a real Aussie there. So rather than they can hire somebody in Australia, they're bringing people from India, from China, from Philippines, which is like very much cost effective for these people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well then, so, so that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So I have a strategy of how exactly I need to take up in making you in a comfortable position, okay, or
Yeah.
placing you in a comfortable position.
Yeah.
So before that, let me just introduce myself, what exactly I'm into and what I'm dealing up with.
Mhm.
I'm basically a data warehousing consultant.
Mhm.
For the last couple of years, I'm into the same world.
Oh.
Before HANA, before 2011, I was into BOBI, DS. I used to take corporate as well as online trainings for that particular sectional area,
Mhm.
and later on, I felt like HANA is going to boom the market because
Yeah.
it's a solution that is going to revolutionize a lot of customers who have some problem with the data.
Yeah.
So keeping that particular view in mind, I just shifted my career path in 2011 as I used to be in the market with the
Mhm.
trainings as well as the development. So we can really guess it of which technology is going to rule the market maybe down the line,
Yeah.
let's say 7 years or 8 years, that is not going to keep my pocket empty.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah. True.
So keeping that particular view in mind, started the journey in 2011,
Mhm.
and I did more than 70 POCs with respect to HANA
Oh.
for different customers across the globe.
Mhm.
And there were 4 end-to-end implementations into areas, like logistics,
Mhm.
banking sector, FMCG. So pretty much like major solutions, I can say, playing around with millions and millions of records to the solutions what I delivered. And apart from that, coming to the trainings,
Mhm.
I basically take care both corporate as well as online.
Mhm.
And in a total, in the last 3.5 years, I can say I covered training more than 400 people.
Oh.
Last December, I crossed the 400 target.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's pretty good, I feel.
Mhm.
And the strategy or the plan or action item that what I follow and what I insist you to follow
Mhm.
or request the candidates to follow, um, we'll see a discussion related to it. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Well, so down the line for the next 45 minutes, I'm going to electrify the things we giving what exactly HANA, why do we require HANA, what kind of solutions are we going to get out of it, all the overview related to the solution. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, do you have any idea what exactly HANA is
Like as
before we jump in?
yeah, as I said, like I was going through some YouTube videos, and from those videos, I found like a nice kind of database, and like wherein a lot of people save the data, they retrieve the data from there, they do modifications in that, which will help them to enhance their business activities, to push up their revenue, and to do some like forecasting of the business, how it's going to be after 5 years or after 6 months, and accordingly they take plans, they make plans for the businesses which will enhance their revenue. So that's what I thought about the HANA.
Perfect. So most of the thing you got already. 10% is
Yeah,
a fit. What
yeah,
exactly it is?
yeah.
No. So I'm going to fill rest of the shortened gaps what I noticed in the conversation. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
in your answer.
mm-hmm.
So with that you can just fulfill even that gap and we can move ahead further.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would have been great if your friend also would have joined.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
was trying really hard to take him to this session, but I can't get
yeah,
hold of him yesterday. So
yeah. So usually one person means I would have
yeah, I
I
can imagine.
requested folks to join to the other point in time.
Yeah.
But from tomorrow I'll be bit packed for the next 1 week at least.
Uh-huh.
I have a corporate, so I'm traveling to a different location.
Uh-huh.
So again, I'll be back next week, and then I can start up. There were other folks also waiting from US
Uh-huh.
and in India.
Uh-huh.
So we all can set up a time and we can move ahead.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'll give you an idea with respect to it. So as it's a demo, it's the main idea is to understand about the deliverables, what I do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
To what extent you are comfortable with my deliverables,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have any other queries or concerns, maybe you can pose me to get them clarified.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure. Yeah.
perfect. So to begin with, this is a short agenda we have for the um, rest 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We see the first section talking about proof point. Now what I meant by proof point, or what exactly SAP has delivered as a proof point to the market, stating that how HANA, or what is HANA is exactly about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now if you see this first slide, which talks about 70 retailers, 460 billion records and 50 terabytes of data.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about 460 billion records and the query execution time is just 0.04 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's a dropping performance,
Yeah.
skyrocketing performance in one way.
True.
Right. So this proof point is against a CPG sector, okay,
Yeah.
mostly Colgate Palmolive.
Yeah.
So if you see the query execution is just 0.04 seconds for 460 billion records. So the first proof point, the selling point of HANA is fastness.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
Now this is the second use case with a customer from a banking sector. I don't know which banking firm was it, but what it says over here is, if you notice the graph at the top, it is talking about data compression with HANA. Now, what do you notice here? On a traditional database, when I place a certain amount of data, it is consuming 42 GB of space.
Yeah.
Right or no?
Yeah.
When the same amount of information, when I'm placing on top of HANA, it is just
Mm-hmm.
consuming 6.6 GB.
Yeah.
So clearly I can notice there is 6.3x data compression rate.
Yeah.
And similarly, the graph at the bottom, what it talks about, the query execution time. On a traditional database, when I execute a query,
Mm-hmm.
it took 2660 seconds. Whereas the same query when I executed on HANA database, it just took 5.1 seconds. Now if you clearly notice the previous slide and this slide, we are talking about two huge hallmarks of a database. What are they? One is data compression and the other one is query execution. Now, towards the end of the session, we will be having a clear idea how SAP is making it, what exactly the strategy that was built in, how the hardware was set up, and all the other details. Now, before I give you some more details about the benefits or what exactly HANA, let's talk about benefits of HANA. How exactly HANA is going to help my organization in delivering a solution that draws a lot of revenue stream. Now first section itself, it is talking about empower your organization, how HANA can empower your organization. So what it says as a first step, real-time visibility to complete data for transaction and analytics processing. Now what is meant by real-time visibility? If you see, there are several data warehousing systems available in the market like Teradata, NetApp, SAP BW, okay, where we source the information from all the transactional systems and execute some reports and populate to them for the analysis. Okay. Now, why do we need a system like data warehouse? To group the data, to build a scenario-based analytical solution and provide to the users to analyze and make some decisions out of it. Now, when I look into the solution like BW, as we are talking about only SAP products, or as we are learning SAP HANA, let's concentrate a bit more on SAP system so that you'll get used to the naming convention. Now, when I say real-time visibility, or when I talk about SAP BW system, how the process in BW goes off is, let's say I run my business and whatever the transactions I do today across different OLTP systems, I'll be pulling the data and loading into my BW system when by end of the day. So every night I run multiple process chains to pull the data from the underlying source systems and load it into my target BW system. Now clearly I can notice it is not a real-time data that I make my analysis out of a BW system. It is just a near real-time data. Means whatever the transactions I complete today, I load them tonight, and this information will be available to the management by tomorrow itself. There is a 1 day delay. But whereas when I see HANA in that point of view, HANA has delivered a revolutionary solution here. When I say real-time visibility, it is nothing but the moment you post a transaction in any of your OLTP systems, let it be your SAP CRM system or APO system or SCM system, HR system, whatever it is. The moment you post a transaction, immediately it gets reflected into your reporting layer, and out of it you can make your analysis. What else I need? And that too it says complete data. What is meant by complete data again? If you talk any data warehousing system, typically we try to represent the information related to only aggregated data. Why? So we try to say that top management might not be interested in looking at the operational level of data. So we provide an aggregated set of container for their analysis. That's one way. The real fact behind the scenes is the systems doesn't support. If I go with the transactional information, getting me?
Yeah.
Underlying facts. We're just covering those facts. That's it. Now, when I say complete data in HANA, what HANA does? HANA again provided a mind-blowing solution to the market. When I say complete data, it not only facilitates reporting on top of your analytical solutions or analytical appliances like OLAP, like BW and all, aggregated data. It also facilitates reporting on top of OLTP systems, means transaction systems also, where you talk about billions and millions of records.
Yeah.
So when I have a huge set of data container available to me for my analysis, I'll go through the entire data set, do better analytics, try to see the possibilities where or how I can draw more revenues to my organization. That's what data is, right?
Yeah.
Data is a key resource for anything.
Yeah.
So, by this way, HANA basically empowers your organization, strengthens your organization structure. And I say zero latency means less than a second you can populate the data, provided you have a better hardware. And TCO it is using total cost of ownership. What is it? See, if we need to get a job, first of all, the customer needs to implement SAP HANA. Right?
Yeah.
Now, how the customer gets convinced with respect to this? Let's say HANA will be dealt by customers who have a problem with huge volumes of data. Now, if that is the case, I should convince him in such a way that how HANA helps his organization with revolutionizing their analytical capabilities. So what it says, descriptive to your existing EDW strategy. When I say customer is having some problem with the big data, in the sense he is already using some data warehousing platform.
Yeah.
If I consider SAP BW is already using, what I do, your BW needs to have some other database to execute, because BW is just an application layer. So for this application layer to run, we need to have an underlying database. So that database, what we do, if let's say you have for the last 7 years you have this data warehousing implementation going on, and you have invested some 200 millions on top of it by generating some 4,000 reports.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden SAP came up with a new product stating HANA, 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 right? Now request you to upgrade to HANA. Now what I say, when you are upgrading, boss, already have a lot of investment went on this, and there are 4,000 reports built on top of this. If I go with HANA, do I need to rebuild all the things? Do I need to reinvest the whole amount? For this question, if I say answer, yes, what is going to be your response?
Shocking.
Shocking. Because already I have a solution in place.
Yeah.
Okay. I've invested a lot of amount. on top
Yeah.
of this analytical solution, if again I have to reinvest that amount and rebuild all my reports, it's something like reinventing a wheel.
Yeah.
So if I request the team to go ahead with this, is the budget allocation going to happen within the organization at least? Let's say the person whom I met is one of my friends. Okay, he is the decision maker for IT director.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, if he has to go ahead with the new product like HANA, first of all, he should get an approval from the CIO,
Yeah.
and he should present to the top executives and get their, um, you know,
Yeah.
approval. Should impress them how exactly it is going to revolutionize the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Accordingly, budget allocation will happen, and accordingly, the investment goes off. All the stuff continues. Right. So in this case, what actually HANA says, boss, we can understand your concern,
Mm-hmm.
but the way HANA works is different. Okay.
Yeah.
What HANA says, you need not do anything. What we just take care is whatever the database you are running for your BW application, we just migrate the DB.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're using a traditional database. We just migrate the data present in your traditional database into SAP HANA. That is what we are going to do.
Because HANA itself is a database.
Exactly. It is also a relational database.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what we have to understand is it is also a database similar to that of traditional database. Then what is HANA? How is it different from that of other traditional databases?
Mm-hmm.
What should I know about the database? If it is a normal database like other traditional databases, what is the point in me sitting over here? Right?
Yeah.
Because as it is different from that of other databases, you are in front of us or you are over the session now.
Yeah.
To understand and to know and to view how things goes with respect to HANA, and in turn fills my pocket with good, you know, amount of
Yeah.
money. End of the day, either you or me or anyone else look after for money itself. So how this solution like HANA can fill our pockets in the market if we are in a better pace to sell ourselves, marketize ourselves. Okay, because we have opportunities.
Yeah.
Let's understand about the fundas related to HANA database. Now what do you see here? I see something like a CPU
Mm-hmm.
and hard disk,
Yeah.
and let's say somewhere at the top I have some application layer which is out of the box right now. Now imagine how the normal process of execution goes off. Whenever you request something from the application layer, it indirect pulls the data from the underlying DB and provides to you, right or no?
Yeah.
Now if that is the case, imagine a situation where I have an application layer where I request some data that is present in the hard disk, because all traditional databases are disk-based solutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now if that is the case, when I request something, how exactly happens at the DB side? This needle pointer serves this entire disk to retrieve a certain amount of data. Getting me?
Yeah.
Now, during the course of that execution or pull out, we notice a couple of bottlenecks with respect to it. What is it? In order to pull the data from the hard disk to the application layer, we have a bottleneck with the input-output devices that we use. So it doesn't allow more container of information to process or to push from the disk to the top layer. So that's a bottleneck. That's why we placed a bottle. This is not a wine bottle for the information. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So as we have some bottlenecks as a part of execution, what SAP is saying is, let's stop using this hard disk based solution. So instead of placing my data on top of a hard disk, let me place my data on top of a RAM, which is nothing but this. So by placing data on top of a RAM, what exactly happens? There will be a faster communication between the RAM and the CPU, where the data gets processed and delivers to your external application layer. So with respect to HANA, you are placing data on top of RAM, which is nothing but memory. That's why you hear stating that HANA is an in-memory database. What kind of database is it?
In-memory database.
In-memory database. And if you see the abbreviation of HANA also, high performance analytical appliance. Apart from the in-memory capabilities, it is not just a database which stores the information. It has analytical capabilities. You can do a lot of analytics within the database layer itself. Getting me?
Yeah.
Now, the moment I say I'm going to place my data on top of a RAM, you might have got a couple of questions in your mind. What are they? Can I store huge amount of data on top of my RAM? Right or no? Something like, I know RAM is a volatile memory. The moment power goes off, the entire data gets cleared off. Now, how are we safeguarding this information? Right? Isn't RAM expensive? All these are general concerns, right? We'll be getting when we think about an in-memory database, which is new to the market. Please notice here, isn't RAM cost effective? Means yes, the hardware systems are revolutionized, so companies can invest something over the hardware. It's not the scene of 20 decades back how the hardware prices were high. As the hardware prices were becoming cheaper these days, we have a possibility of building that particular stuff. Getting me?
Yeah.
Any questions?
No.
Now when I say, can I store huge amount of data? Yes, of course. We have terabytes of RAMs being placed or manufactured by the hardware vendors. You can place them in the hardware and you can play around with the data. When you have terabytes of RAM, you can place millions of records on top of it. No worries. Right?
Yeah.
Volatility. So we have something like persistence layer mechanism where on a timely basis from the RAM I take a backup to the underlying hard disks. Okay.
Yeah.
So all the committed transactions can be pulled from the RAM to the underlying hard disk and save them up. And RAM is a permanent store. Sorry. ROM is a permanent storage area. There's nothing but hard disk. So I'm safeguarding the customer information. So by that way I'm overcoming the other bottleneck also, or the challenge what people will be thinking about, the concern what the people have. So this is one the HANA from the definition point of view. So HANA is a flexible multi-purpose data source agnostic in-memory appliance that combines both hardware as well as software components to support a number of valuable use case scenarios. Getting?
Yeah.
So data source agnostic, this is what you have to understand.
Yeah.
Whatever the database you bring in, if it gets licensed with SAP, I can pull the data into HANA. And on top of it, you can build your own analytics. So if someone asks you what exactly HANA is it a software or is it a hardware?
It's
Please tell
combination.
them it's a combination exactly. Because without software, you cannot run your hardware. Without hardware, you cannot run the HANA software.
Yeah.
Both you should have. And from the hardware front, you can see there are multiple vendors. It all depends how you exactly negotiate with them related to the budgeting. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are some of the key frontline points that from the hardware side and from the software side the things goes off. So in the hardware you see a multi-core architecture where you talk about 18 to 8 core CPU blades, each having some 100 GB throughput. So whereas from the software side, if you see, you have a capacity to store the information both in a row and a column formats. Two kinds of tables you can have, row, column. Compression of the data. So if I have 5 GB of information in an Oracle, it can be 1 GB in HANA. So compression goes off. Partitioning. Slice and dice the data what you have. Chunk it into pieces and provide to different CPUs what you have or processors you have to process the data and deliver the solution at a faster basis. And it says no aggregate tables. I don't want any aggregated tables required in this case. Why?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to duplicate it because HANA is a solution that gives me a path to analyze on a detailed analytics. So for that again I need to summarize the data, place it into a different table and do some analysis on top of it, not required. Clear? Do you have any questions till this point in time, please?
No.
Fine.
Yeah.
So then let's talk about architecture of HANA.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? wherever the data can be. It can be an ERP or a BW or some third-party tools. I can pull the data and place it into HANA via different replication methodologies or data provisioning methodologies. So once I get data into HANA, I execute different reports on top of it. And that reports is nothing but UI, dashboard, crystal, explorer, all these reports. So business objects is a front end tool for us with respect to SAP HANA. It's not just you have to go with only business objects. You can also have other non-SAP products also. Java you can make use, Tableau you can make use, ClickView you can make use.
So basically, business object is a front-end interface.
Yes, as from the SAP tools point of view.
So, but business object is not a database, right?
Yes, it's just a reporting layer.
Okay.
HANA is a database.
Yeah.
Now this is the kind of solutions we have been delivering to the market till today using solutions like BW. As I told you, every night we source the information, right? Once we pull the data from different transaction systems like ECC or CRM or some non-SAP systems, and we load it into BW, and on top of this BW we use to have different reports like BEX, VAD. All these are reporting tools of BI. Now when HANA comes into the picture, what exactly it takes care? Wherever the data might be, you'll be sourcing into HANA. On top of it, you generate different reports. And this is what it's happening these days. Whatever the application layer you take, everything should run on top of HANA database. CRM on HANA, ECC on HANA, BW on HANA. So that's why we'll have a more scope.
Like all the data is going to the business object interface. So HANA doesn't have its own interface like a business object.
See, HANA is a database where you define and design the logics because it has analytical capabilities. Okay, so in order to do it, we have a client tool for us to work. Okay, whereas business objects is a client tool for users to analyze the data. It's a reporting tool. Getting me?
Yeah.
So if a user needs to analyze, he should go via these reporting tools. If a developer has to do some sort of work over the database, he needs to make use of HANA Studio. Got it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is what SAP HANA in a brief. Any questions, please?
No. Yeah, all clear so far.
So I'll tell you the strategy what exactly follow. Okay. So this training is basically a certification oriented one. Okay.
Yeah.
Where we cover course curriculum like HA100, HA300, HA350.
So is this all the versions?
Books that we have to cover.
Alright.
Content. So one is basic, advanced, and replication methodologies. So as I told you, like it's a certification oriented. After completion of the training, it's a cakewalk for you to clear your certification because I have many real-time examples with me.
Like
Okay.
roughly, like, how much
So
does certification cost? Any idea?
it's $500.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
So don't worry. The moment you are certified, you will get more opportunities.
yeah. It's not that tough.
After completion of the sessions, it's a cakewalk, as I was saying,
Uh-huh.
because I have a lot of non-SAP consultants who got trained and cleared their certification within 1 week also there,
Oh, really?
within 2 weeks also there. Okay,
Yeah.
so we need not worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, as I say, it is a certification oriented one, and once we clear the certification, it's something like a gate pass.
Yeah.
The next thing what we should have is about interview. How we are going to clear the interview with the certification when I approach a job. So for that we have two interview level discussions. One is after completion of 30% of the course curriculum, and the other one after completion of 80% of the course curriculum. So that better we can understand each of us before we move ahead or we jump into other solutions.
Yeah. So you yourself conduct these interviews?
Exactly. I ask
Okay.
you all the real-time scenario questions based on what exactly market is expecting.
Sure.
Soon after this, let's say we got a job. We have to survive in the job.
Yeah.
For that I need to have some real-time exposure.
Yeah.
So for that, apart from the real-time scenarios what we discussed, we are also going to have something like proof of concept, POC. So I give you a document
Uh-huh.
with 1 week of time.
Uh-huh.
So during the course of that 1 week, you have to complete that activity and come back to me with some questions or approach, how you have done, what challenges you have faced, something like that.
In real time job.
Yes, the
All right.
POC activity with respect to it.
Uh-huh.
Then we'll see the approaches related to it.
All right.
Alright,
Yeah.
so the documents related to it, everything will be provided by me. I'll take care of it. Duration, I proposedly promised like I mean, 1 hour a day, 1 month, 1 week. Maybe it might extend basing on the discussions where we land up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, pretty much that's what the plan. So soon after my completion of this corporate, I'll be back on 17th. Okay,
All right.
so on 17th or from 18th, we can just initiate the discussion or initiate the sessions. So in the meantime, you can also check base with your friend, tell him how did you felt,
Yeah.
what we are going to cover. It's all driven by you. Let me tell you one thing, bookish is not going to help us. One thing I tell the folks is, if you want to enjoy the sessions,
Yeah. That's very
you
important
have to
thing.
blindly follow me and you have to invest a lot of time over the system. Otherwise, it's a waste of you investing some amount and time.
Yeah.
Amount we can earn it here, but that's not a problem. But the thing is, time.
Yeah.
It should not be the case like you learn now one core content, we don't land up in getting a job with lack of proper preparation and again investing on a different tool,
Yeah.
leaving this to the train. So if you don't have some time and something like that, please, it's not a right time to get in. But if you are really electrified in getting into the job, you met a right person who is going to help you in all the ways. in placing up an opportunity. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a sincere suggestion as well as from my end.
Yeah.
I
True.
don't know what Srinivas or someone else will think up, but I want the folks to be highly concentrative, okay,
Yeah.
determined to do what assignments I give, because basing on that only I can have a better discussion,
Yeah.
and
True.
via that only you can draw a lot of output from me. Otherwise, it's something like only bookish one, though I don't give you examples really available in the book. One more thing, I give you some real life scenarios for you to understand and how you can implement them um, in the job area.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so but the only part is I need your time. That is first and foremost thing.
Yeah.
Any other questions, please?
Yeah. And if I have to practice, and it's like not a classroom, so I need to install something like SAP or something to do
No, sir.
practice.
Not not really. See, solutions like HANA is not a normal thing to implement or to install.
Really, okay.
So you will be provided with a remote system available for 24 by 7 for you to practice
Uh,
whenever you want.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when exactly the server is required, all the details I will let you know, because initially we need to make your funda strong.
Yeah.
If your fundamentals are strong, whatever the solution that comes in, you will be in a better position to handle it or tackle it.
Yeah. Like for other courses like SQL and all that, we do like some installation and we practice it. But
Mhm.
in HANA, we do it like server
It's not
practice.
possible.
All right.
Yeah, you will be provided with a server with all these integrations like BO, BODS, BI, HANA. All tools will be there in that.
All right. So main concentration is all about that classes you conduct. If I
Right.
focus in that, it should be okay.
Exactly. I don't want people to jump into other different tools or Googling everything. Just
Yeah.
forget some time. Blindly follow me. Because Google gives a lot of stuff here. To be honest, we have to accept the
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
But the structurized way it doesn't provide.
But confuse a lot of people. Like
Exactly.
you get confused without any proper instructor or like proper coach.
Exactly. So that is the reason we should go in a strategical way, dice or toil or dice to see
Yeah.
the right selection.
True.
Cool then. So that's what it is. If you don't have any questions, I can wind up and I can close off the session.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Anyways, thank you so much for your time. I will get in touch with Srinivas and see how we go from there. So you said like you can start it from 18th,
Yeah,
uh, yeah, so 18th
1 week
that's
from now.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay, probably today or tomorrow I will get in touch with Srinivas and we'll see how the like I didn't ask about the package, like how much is the fee and all that. Do I need to get in touch with him or are you going to tell me?
No, they are the right person. I just work for their organization. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So they are the people who takes care of all that, and I take care of you getting a job.
Okay, sure, no worries.
Right?
So I
Perfect.
will get
Alright
in
then.
touch with them. And
Yeah.
anyways, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a great day. Best of luck
Yeah.
with your corporate trainings.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye now.